That was not a real good performance, which falls on me. That was, we weren't real sharp, it wasn't real clean. We had penalties, we had turnovers. One of those was for 7 points, which was the difference in the game. And then defensively, man, it just, we weren't good. So special teams made some plays, but then there was a couple we gave up too. So it wasn't clean, and that's on me.
Live from downtown Detroit, it's No BS News Hour with my main man, LeDuff.
No bullshit.
Yeah, well, it's the Monday show where all the stuff that happened since last we saw you, Karen.
That was
Thursday. Lots of shit happened. Lots. Like the Lions.
Who?
Exactly. The Spartans. Right? This governor's race. Wow, what a mess. So, let's start.
The cesspool.
Just everything, right? Joining us, we have Senator Tom Albert, the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee in Michigan. He just walked.
Fed up.
Because why, Mark? Because the budgetary
spending.
process.
Yeah.
We don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we doing?
Spending.
But can you blame him?
Yeah, well, we're going to ask him. When you head appropriations, you are the king shit.
Yep.
Right?
That's the power.
A hard thing to walk away from.
Yeah, but that's therein lies the power. So to walk away from that, there's something there.
And when you're done, then you go find your $1 million a year job, because that's where all the beds are feathered, right? And he walked.
That's true.
So really interesting. But let's just start all the way at the top, right? President Sleepy Joe Biden, while we were on the air, right? He's speaking at what was that shit called?
The White House Conference on
Hunger,
Health,
nutrition,
and Health.
Yeah. Right? And he's thanking everybody that helped us put another spending package together, which for food
money
is nice, because increasingly we got less and less food, right? And he's thanking everybody for being there. And he thanks the Republican representative from Indiana, Jackie Walorski, who died 2 months ago.
He was looking for
in a car crash, and he's looking for her, and roll that.
Maybe he misses her.
He's got such great energy.
And so many of you know so much about this as well, and you're committed. And I want to thank all of you here for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Governor, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here to help make this.
She's dead.
He said she wasn't going to be here.
See, don't go off the teleprompter, Joe. And you should have your wife standing there so you don't do shit like that.
Tugging on his arm.
You notice this is the only president in my memory that's always got his wife so he doesn't walk off.
Yeah.
But Charlie, you said don't go off the teleprompter. Let's not forget when he stuck with the teleprompter and he read the instructions, stop speaking.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that?
Yeah. End of line, I
think.
End
of sentence,
yeah.
Turn around, something, whatever. He read the instructions that were in the parentheses. So
I mean, what are we going to do? I mean, I didn't vote for this guy, and I certainly didn't vote for Trump. And this is looking like 2024.
That's what we have. Well, maybe not.
Thankfully, though, when he makes a gaffe, at least he's got the White House to cover for him.
Oh yeah, he's what's that chick's name with the binder?
Karine
Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
Karine Jean-Pierre. Yeah. All right. So press wants to know. Now they're going after a little bit. They want to know, like,
they gave her a honeymoon.
Like, what's up with the president? He got all his marbles. We got any tape from that?
Yeah, here we go.
Today, the president appeared to look around the room for an audience member, a member of Congress who passed away last month. He seemed to indicate she might be in the room.
So the president was, as you all know, you guys were watching today's event, a very important event on food insecurity. The president was naming the congressional champions on this issue and was acknowledging her incredible work. He had already planned to welcome the Congresswoman's family to the White House on Friday. There will be a bill signing in her honor this coming Friday. So, of course, she was on his mind. She was of top of mind for the president.
She should know he's dead then.
Are you here? Where's Jackie? She must not be here.
Yeah, I totally understand. I just explained she was on top of mind.
Well, because I'm trying to get my head around the response. the late Congresswoman was top of mind for the president, and her family was expected to be here, and that's what he was thinking about. Why was he looking for her? I'm not trying to be snarky here.
No, I mean, and again, I think people can understand. I think the American people out there who, watch the briefing from time to time, maybe at this moment, will understand when someone is at top of mind. I mean, that is not an unusual scenario there.
I have John Lennon top of mind just about every day, but I'm not looking around for him.
When you sign a bill for John Lennon as president, then we can have this conversation. Okay, go ahead.
What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, that wasn't that. But I mean, in all honesty, what could she say without throwing him under the bus? Without saying that clearly he's not all there. I mean, on one hand, you have to applaud the fact that she really tried to navigate something that was not manageable. I mean, there's no answer for that.
Well, especially in her binder that they prepare for her every morning. Everything she said, she's reading out of it.
That's
I
true.
mean, you got to be the dumbest press secretary I've ever seen, and I've seen some dumb ones.
Yeah, but you got to be able to think on your feet. But for that, you can't get out of that.
You can. You just like brain fart.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he forgot she died.
Well,
I mean,
but I'm
just
saying
say
you-
that.
without-
I mean, it's
without
not
throwing
like
your
he
boss
hangs
under the
out with
bus.
the woman and, they have Tupperware parties together.
Yeah,
Like,
but-
oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, again, like you said, either he sticks to the script. He's not mentally astute enough to go off of the script. But yeah, there's no answer for that without throwing him under the bus. There's just not.
This is just not good. So, who's running the country?
Nobody.
Well, no, like the chief of staff, his wife, national security advisor Jake Sullivan, who's like just a whelp.
Yeah, but what are they doing?
What are they doing? They're pitching this one. Trump. It's not Trump. It's not Trump. Trump's gone.
Is
right? Yeah. Well, he was in Macomb this weekend. That's another piece. New 5,000 strong. But what's he offering? I mean, Dixon was there, DePerno was there, Karama was there, the big three on the Republican side, which looked like the little three. And it turns into a stop the steal rally, right? You were saying before the show, it energizes the base. And I'm like, the base is already energized. You got to figure out how to get us.
But that's what resonates with them. So, I mean, of course, when they always say, read the room, know your audience. That's it. That's what they want. That's what most of them are still talking about 2 years later. I mean, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, but
Every substance.
Every major Christian religion's got people going door to door trying to convert people.
Yeah, well,
They don't go visit Orthodox Greeks.
It's a lack-
the priest doesn't come walking around.
It's a lack of
I haven't
strategy.
seen you in church, my son.
It's a lack of strategy, Charlie.
It's crazy, right?
well.
A lack of strategy and a lack of money.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Whitmer's just because what does this all have to do with Michigan? This gubernatorial election's almost over. I mean, Whitmer's really positioning herself for a run for the White House. That's really what this has become.
Well, I'm hearing Whitmer will run for president. Duggan will run for governor.
Could you imagine?
Gilchrist wants to run for mayor, and then you've got Buttigieg for senator. Now that's the alignment that's coming.
That's how they're playing this out.
That's how it's coming.
Well,
So
you
I mean,
know-
and now let me say this,
Okay.
because this is a no BS news hour. What I understand is that Gilchrist wanted to run for mayor, but had to abandon that interest in order to accept the position as lieutenant governor. So I guess this is a trade-off. All right, if I go here, then I'll allow then you'll be allowed to run for mayor.
Look how they just move these pieces on a board.
But people have to understand, what did you do in the last position?
Right.
And why would I now take you or support you in another position to not do anything in that one either?
Well, that's easy. I know that name.
Well, that too.
That's
Yeah,
all it is.
You're right.
I know
You're
that
absolutely
name.
right.
Yeah.
So-
And then you never look at the record, like especially now with all the fake money. Look, Detroit's in a world of hurt. The state of Michigan's in a world of hurt. The federal government's in a world of hurt. But when you just keep sliding fake money around it to patch over it to look like things are going all right, well, what does that leave us in the future? That leaves
broke.
Yep, the next asshole to hold the position has to deal with it.
Yeah, but they're printing money and acting as though there are no implications for doing so.
And right. And do you really think the Republicans have any faith in Tudor Dixon? There's no money. She's raised no money. There's no commercials. I mean, it's so bad It's so bad. Like, I haven't seen one commercial. It's so bad that a group of bikers in Gratiot County, which is like, you know, the thumb.
That's a commercial.
I say this lovingly, you know, a bunch of rednecks. I say that lovingly. Like, they got to take it on themselves because what's going on? Do we have that commercial?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
For those of you listening, just, you know, come back to the show, you know, give it a click, take a look. You got to see this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 older white people with long gray hair and bandanas and leathers standing around their motorcycle deciding to put a commercial together.
And, well, and you know how you know they're real people? Terrible acting. So don't let the bad acting take away from the message. I'm being serious.
But you know that this is the sincerity of it.
Yeah.
So
I think that works actually because they're not real actors.
And they're putting the playbook together that the Republicans should have
been
in
doing,
the
yeah.
last 4
That's true.
years with these Democrats in this state.
they pulled the content. That's for sure.
Here we go.
Hey, have you seen the TV ads with the governor talking about the great things she's done for Michigan?
She's a liar. Whitmer can say what she wants, but we live here. Just look around, man.
During COVID, Whitmer locked down businesses like the Owasso Barber and put one woman from Holland in jail. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
3,000 restaurants closed. And she's pro-business?
Yeah, right.
And what about those higher gas and food prices?
Our schools were closed for almost 2 years. Poor kids.
Speaking of kids, Whitmer says she's gonna work like hell to keep killing babies.
And she put COVID patients in Graham's nursing home.
Graham died alone.
Oh.
Okay. I'm voting for the other chick. What's her name?
Tudor Dixon.
What's her
Okay,
name?
let's roll.
Watch out for potholes. Whitmer never kept her promise to
fix the damn roads.
It doesn't get any more real than that, Charlie.
Oh my God!
It doesn't.
Oh, no. I can't help but laughing at poor Graham dying.
I know.
The
Poor
way
Graham.
it's just the way the line was delivered.
And she has an American flag as they're like old hippies, but you know, hey,
Cool.
that's what
That's,
is pretty
man.
cool.
Yeah.
It doesn't when you ask for quote unquote endorsements, it has to come from the people, and those are the people. And if that's what they feel, like Mark said, I mean, it doesn't get any more sincere than that.
And let's face it. I mean, the press doesn't want to go there.
Yeah, that's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like, deservedly, Tudor Dixon or abortion stance, right? But you want to talk about nursing homes? We did everything we could. No, you didn't. You lied about the deaths. You didn't monitor them, right? You commingled them. You lied about that.
That's what they said.
And the press doesn't want to even look at a record, right? Because I'm going to tell you why. Because Michigan's a backwater. And if you got somebody coming out of here like Whitmer, that means the national press becomes buddies with the local press, and all of a sudden they're part of the cool kid clique that they never were. They don't understand budgets. I read it and I try to get an idea of what's going on with these mega funds and these tax breaks and development deals, and they don't really get it. They rewrite press releases. It's the same in this city. Remember the miracle, the comeback? In 2019, I wrote it was a myth. It was a myth. And now it's a myth, and you're starting to see people write about it, but it's too fucking late.
That's true. That is true.
So once it's too late, where do you go?
But this also shows, too, Charlie, that people have not forgotten those issues. So whether or not the press is bringing them up, you know, the average residents are not, they've not forgotten those things.
Well, let me see. Is Tom on the line?
We should be.
Yes, I'm on the line.
Hey, this state representative Tom Albert, who until last week was the head of the House Appropriations Committee here in Michigan. Tom, you walked away. You resigned. Why, bro? Oh, and him Republican, by the way. Just because we're nonpartisan, we let everybody know.
I should also put a note in there. I'm a state rep, not a state senator.
What'd
I
I
am
just
running
say?
for the Senate.
What'd I just say?
You said state senator.
Well, thanks for the correction, because we like to keep it correct. I know you're a state rep. You're from Lowell.
Yeah.
My apologies. You know, it's hard to make the trains run, Tom.
Yeah, no, I guess, I would just say it was the wrong bill. I didn't like the process, and it was totally the wrong time for that type of bill.
Well, explain what it was in regular people terms.
It was $1.1 billion of spending. Put that in context. We just got done with a $76 billion budget about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And this was $840 million for basically big corporate economic development for 5 different projects. And then there was about $250 million of just other stuff in there. I guess some of it was book closing type stuff that we should have normally done in December. Some of it was just kind of, I guess, in normal terms, just pork.
So where'd this money come from? I mean, we're desperate all the way around in this country. Where are we getting $1.2 billion? Is that federal stimulus money? Is that sales tax and income tax?
Well, think of it this way, Charlie. I mean, the federal government has just injected money every place you could imagine. And what that's done is it's increased state revenues because, sales taxes are up. People are buying more goods. People's wages are going up to keep up with inflation, so that's increasing income tax receipts. So we have before this bill, we had about $3.5 billion of general funds just sitting on our balance sheet, just sitting there tempting people to spend it. And we also had another $3.5 billion in the school aid fund. So there's just a ton of cash out there, and people just wanted to spend it.
And so where's all that federal stimulus money they sent? That's not even part of this, is it? That's just tax receipts you're talking about.
There was a small portion of it, but it was small ball stuff. If you look, we received $6.4 billion of the discretionary funding, and we have about $800 million of that left. At the end of the budget.
So we blew through all that
during the budget. Yeah, this was kind of beside the point. This is really, for the most all intents and purposes, this was state funding.
So let me go like this, Tom. I was sitting around watching Lions football. It was miserable, so I decided to do something fun. Math. Since 2019, right, when Whitmer took office, since then to 2022, the state budget has grown 35%. Inflation in that time has grown 16%. And revenues have grown 3%. After inflation, that means the budget increased 20% and revenues have fallen 16%, and yet we keep spending and spending and spending.
Yeah, it sounds like a recipe for a tax cut for me. I mean, we need to put this money back in people's pockets. I mean, we're coming up on what could possibly be the biggest recession that will have happened in anybody's lifetime. I don't care if you're 90 years old. We're coming up on something that could possibly be very, very bad. If you look at the inflationary pressures we're seeing in the U.S., the Federal Reserve is about a year behind where they should be. So they're playing catch-up, raising rates very fast, and it's just hammering our economy in the U.S. But if you look globally, you look at what's going on in Europe, it's a disaster. I mean, the energy crisis they're having because of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia is they're worried about even heating their houses this year. And if you look at what's going on in China, their slowdown is really bad. They keep locking down because of COVID protocols. It's causing supply chain disruptions. It's basically what we have is a financial mess. And really, I really thought it was prudent. Let's just wait until the end of the year. There's no emergency. We don't need to spend any money right now. Let's see what happens for a couple months before we look at doing another bill.
Well, you see what happened in Britain. They're going to do a tax cut and it sends the markets into turmoil. We don't need a tax. Put it in a rainy day fund because, folks, here's really what's going on. Inflation is at 10%. So even if we bought the same amount of stuff, the tax receipts, right, will go up 10%. If you got a raise, it's not 10%, it's 5%, but the amount of income taxes you pay goes up. We haven't really created any new money. It's inflation money, and they want to spend it. That's what's going on. Now, Tom, you said it's $1 billion in pork. Among those pork projects is a battery plant on the west side of the state, right? For what's the name of this firm? Goshen. And Goshen is a Chinese firm. It's from the People's Communist Republic of China. So we've given all of our factories and all of our technology to the Chinese, and we're begging these motherfuckers to come here, and we're giving them money? Is that what I'm to understand?
You said it, not me. That's what the value proposition looks from my angle as well, Charlie.
How much money is going to the Chinese here?
I don't know. I think I've seen publicly it's somewhere between 100 million and 200 million.
But you don't know.
I don't know. No.
The former head of the Appropriations Committee is kept in the dark as to what we're going to swing to the Chinese. Right, Tom?
I have to be a little careful. I do have a non-disclosure agreement. So I've had conversations with MEDC.
A public official have a
I do not
non-disclosure
know
agreement?
the exact number, but I can tell you what I've seen publicly is between 100 and 200 million.
Who is your non-disclosure with, Tom, if I may ask?
Yeah, as my representative and head of the House Appropriations Committee, Representative Tom Albert. Who'd you sign that
It's with the MEDC.
The Michigan
MEDC. It's
Economic
public. Detroit News did an article on it.
Well, we don't speak the name of Voldemort on this program. We got you. So there's we did it too. We actually broke it. So now, in order to discuss economic development with a quasi-public private entity like the Michigan Economic Development Corp messing with our money, you, the representative in a democracy, have to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
Hey, that's what they wanted.
Do you have
if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have signed it just because the optics of it looked terrible. And honestly, I didn't really get that much information, so it wasn't really worth it. So what I've been doing is I took an approach when I was a probes chair of, if you go back and look at the committee hearings we had with MEDC, I grilled them. And I'm glad I did because I asked a lot of questions, specifically going back to that Ford deal. And I really said, like, basically, what will happen? What happened if they don't keep the job numbers up? And I really made them walk through it, and it was through an open public forum.
You said that there were some economic development projects that had the bulk of the money. Do you remember what any of those projects were, or can you discuss or disclose those?
I don't know what they're going to be. Like I said, I wasn't part of this process. I put out a statement about a month ago saying I'm not supporting spending any money at this time. And so essentially, you know, there was a process that went on without me being there. So I'm not 100% sure what the projects are going to be.
Now, Tom, what you did support was in the last budget, right? That $76 billion. There's like $1 billion plus just in pork. We're going to give Stephen Ross and Chris Ilitch $100 million. The former deputy emergency manager of Detroit is working on something in Ann Arbor, a big development. There's going to be public money. Why did you support $1 billion in midnight spending to these concerns? If you're so concerned about the money, why did you hand out $1 billion to special interests?
Because you got to put it in context. I also got $2.6 billion for paying down debt. I had $750 million to get every municipality in the state of Michigan to their pension system to a minimum of 60% funding. There was over $1.5 billion put into our teachers' pension system. We increased special ed funding by over $250 million. We did a lot of good, Charlie, in that budget.
I know. So, but you're saying is in order
I'm really
to
proud of the project that we came up with. In totality, is there stuff in there I didn't like?
Yes.
You're darn right there was.
You
But
mean
in
you had to do
totality-
that? You had to do that because special interests that run Lansing, your superiors in the party, the Democrats, everybody. If you want the right things done for the community and society and the state, then you're gonna have to play some ball, right? That's called the dirty backroom deal making, right? I mean, in
negotiations.
Yeah, man, but keep in mind though, like I was able to keep back $7 billion cash on the balance sheet. That's why we're in this mess right now. That's why it was so tempting for people to come back, take another bite at the apples, because it could have been a lot worse. I can guarantee you some of the things that were thrown out on the table, it could have been a lot worse.
Lansing's a cesspool, isn't it?
You know, it's easy to take that cynical look, but I'll tell you, you know, this was not the most fun week I've ever had, but the amount of people who have come up and just, you know, been just great people, great friends, and have been with me, you know, it's easy to take that cynical look, but there's problems. I'm not going to lie. There's problems there, but there are really good people there who go there with genuinely good intentions to look out what's best for their community and for their loved ones.
But then someone like you realizes that no matter how good you are, or no matter how much good you think you're doing, that we're still repeating behaviors and activities that aren't in the best interest of the people who put you there. So that's not cynical.
You know, there's always next election too. I mean,
and that's what you got to worry about,
People
bro.
get tempted.
Well, listen, State Representative Tom Albert, you're running for state senate, Tom?
Yes. Yep.
All right, good luck
That's
with
why you call them senators. I
that.
mean, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm not making any prognostications.
Well, perhaps you are.
We'll talk to the bikers of Gratiot County.
Okay, maybe they'll support him. Well, let me ask you this. What can or will you do differently so that, or can anybody really do anything different? I mean, I tend to think that the process is so entrenched that no matter who's there, you really can't change much.
You can. I feel like I've made a difference. Sometimes it's incremental. One thing that keeps going through my head this last week is, this Bible verse of what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And
vanity,
you just got to keep fighting. You got to put your faith in the Lord, and you got to keep moving, and good things will happen. Got to have faith.
You got to have a set of balls too, and you got to work hard, right? That's how you.
I learned that in the Marine Corps. So.
Oh, in the Marine, look at that. All right, brother. Well, thank you. Good luck, and keep on fighting.
God bless. Take care.
You too.
Thanks. Take care.
Well, you hear that? You got to make the deals.
Yeah, I mean, but on one hand, when I hear that he gets up and he leaves, it's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. But then he turns around and says, okay, well, I want to do that, and it's pretty.
But you hear what he was saying though,
Yeah,
like
I get it.
I got this, and this. We had to put that in, and then they came back around and did some extra spending.
But that's what happens, though, Charlie, and that's what people don't understand.
Well, it's not the process, Karen. I want them to understand.
Okay.
I want them to understand what they just did.
Okay.
What they just did. Spending money we don't have in an inflationary period, instead of sitting on it, you gave it to the fucking Chinese. Well, we need the jobs. Well, I don't know. We gave $3 billion to GM. That's that mega shit. Giving all these deals all day long. Look, if you look at that Gilbert skyscraper out there, nothing's moving today. Everybody's moving out. Really?
Didn't Wisconsin give money to the Chinese for Foxconn, and that kind of blew up, didn't it?
Never happened, right?
Yeah.
Right?
The NDA, for a public official signing an NDA, regardless of what the deal is, it just doesn't sit well. It sounds like bullshit.
It does. In general, that's almost like having them sign a non-compete. Like, you are a public official.
Right.
But somebody that worked for Duggan slipped up early on and said that they signed an NDA. So, I mean, we probably have some NDAs on file that should not be on file.
Got to fight the power. I'm not even sure they're legal, man. And
how does that work?
If you listen to the state representative, it's a shell game between sales tax, which goes up because the price of everything went up, your income tax because your wages went up, but not at the level of inflation, and all of this fucking COVID money. It's a shell. So what are you spending it on? At least I have some good news. At least.
And what is that, Charlie?
Well, the Detroit police have been offered a contract. It's rank and file have to vote on it. Lieutenants, sergeants, and rank and file will receive, if this contract goes through, a $10,000 immediate wage increase.
Good.
Plus 4-year cost of living adjustment over 4 years. So 16% inflation.
Is that retroactive or going forward?
Going forward.
Okay.
Now, if you really look at 10,000, what we've been through since 2019, you're basically a little bit even, got a little bit more. I don't want to argue with that.
Right, I got you, but 10,000 is 10,000.
It's historic.
And it's a start.
It's historic.
Yeah,
and,
but it's a start.
We've been bitching. I've been bitching. You had to cut when you were, basically the mayor of this town.
Stop saying that, Charlie.
Okay, well, like the deputy mayor, when you were the one trying to soft land this dirigible filled with hydrogen called Detroit, we had to cut public safety's wages by 10%.
10%.
So, okay, that's good. We've been advocating for. So, credit where it's due.
Right.
I'm going to give Mayor Mike Duggan a hand.
Yeah, I mean,
we've been calling for.
Charlie, let me say this. People always say, you guys just don't like. So it's not about liking anybody or anything. I don't care enough about it to like or dislike. It's about what's happening and the implications of those decisions or lack thereof. This is not personal. I mean, it's not personal at all.
Well, starting wage now for Detroit cop is on par with the surrounding suburbs, right? Which is good because we're losing a cop a day.
I was going to say that should be part of the retention strategy because they do.
It's called money.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's good. And so, how does the mayor say he's going to pay for it? Through increased revenue. Like what increased revenue?
From what?
Like Meridian's moving out. I mean, the workers aren't back. GM's backtracked on it.
Yeah, they have.
Income tax receipts have gone down. That's not how he's going to find $25 million a year. How he's going to find $25 million a year is the $840 million that Sleepy Joe sent here to cover up the maggots. That's where he's going to get it, and that's how it should have been spent. And that's what the president asked him to do.
Okay. So
don't forget, next year we got to find $200 million a year every year to pay the pensions.
Yep, that's true.
So
that'll be someone else's problem.
That'll be somebody else's
and
problem.
that was
That's
the
how it
plan.
works. Yeah.
And that's the plan.
Of course. That's how it always works.
But again, in the short term, it's a good use
of money,
of these fake dollars, and it should go to the police and the paramedics who aren't getting it, and the firefighters who aren't getting it. They should get it. It's a good start. That's some good news.
That's true.
Maybe it'll make your neighborhood a little bit more livable.
Let's hope so. That's all we can do, but it is a start. But my thing is that, why just stop at 10? If we're spending fake money, why not go for broke?
Well,
I'm just saying.
Come on now. Come on.
Why not 20?
But this got to piss Black Lives Matter off.
Yeah, I guess. But, the thing about it is, Charlie, the reality is that I think a lot of it, people will say, defund the police. I don't think that's what they really meant, even though a lot of people said it.
Absolutely.
I don't think that was, I think it was, a means of de-escalating the tension between the community and the police, which we don't have here. I mean, that's the other thing. We really have to acknowledge the police department here. We don't have those issues. Even when they were rioting, I mean, we had like a fake riot. Like it wasn't like they were just out trying to, it just didn't happen that way. So we should applaud that relationship and try to build on that relationship and not duplicate the failed relationships in other cities around the country. We don't have those issues.
And
we don't.
I mean, officers here.
We never have.
They know, but the thing is, when you're not putting your hands on anybody and you're not making arrests, then it's easy to have a relationship because there is no rub. The problem with the relationship between the community and the police here is there aren't any.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? We know there's nobody covering downtown. This is a really good start. And Flint got its money. And Flint is the mayor's up for re-election. Nobody's even calling that out. It's a debacle. Remember, I told you I was going to try to get these 911 numbers. They're starting to come in. Okay? And here's what I know. According to, Genesee County. Between August of last year and August of this year, there were 115,000 911 calls to the Flint police. 47% of them were never answered.
Wow.
47%. How does this play out? Again, I was doing math, watching the Lions. You know what I mean?
Did you add up the score?
By my estimation, and again, this isn't exact because I'm sure this place like Newark or, Rialto, California, or Fresno, I didn't look at. But in terms of murder rate in this country, Jackson, Mississippi has 100 murders per 100,000 people. That's tops as far as I can find. Flint, by my estimation, is number 2 at 90 murders per 100,000 people.
Wow.
For some perspective, Detroit, which is still wildly high, is 50 people per 100,000. So this is a good start. And if you need some comparison for that, Chicago had the most murders in America last year. We always hear about Chicago.
Right.
800 murders.
Huge, though.
But in terms of population per 100,000, that's 30 per 100,000. So Detroit is almost double Chicago. Flint is triple Chicago. And Flint, today, they just found another body in an abandoned house. So what are you going to do for Flint? You're fucking around with the pipes, the garbage contracts, the car contracts. It's a fucking mess up there. And nobody's holding anybody's feet to the fire. You take the COVID money, Mr. Mayor. It's like, I forget the number. Give me a second. No, whatever. It's between 50 and 80 million, right? I mean, you can't know every number. Nobody really cares. But that should go to fucking public safety.
That's true. That's true.
It's the most
only makes
important
sense.
thing,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, people always say that safety is a qualifier for a key comfort and quality of life.
And economy,
and the economy. That's true.
Public health. Yeah.
That's true.
Now let me turn it to my favorite treasurer of a state political party, Tracy Kornak, who's been accused by a whistleblower, right? Former board member of the Healthcare Nursing Home Association of Michigan, that he claims that she tried to bilk a brain-damaged elderly client in a nursing home of $50,000 through her insurance company. What's become of that? Nothing. But Dana Nessel, Attorney General Dana Nessel, who Ms. Kornak was on her transition committee, good pals, announced last week that they were charging a Macomb County woman for bilking one of her somebody that she was the guardian and conservator of, and she faced prison time. But on this one, nothing. I'm being told from that nursing home where Ms. Kornak's client lived that agent showed up with a badge and a gun from the AG's office and encouraged them to close the case on Ms. Kornak.
Wow.
Right? Interesting. Which is okay.
No, it's not.
But I have it through sources that Ms. Kornak's law license is being challenged on the grounds of fraud and improper billing and et cetera, and that an investigation has been opened up and she may lose her law license. I don't know. This thing would go way past the election. You know that.
That's the point.
But it's there. It's open. The investigation's begun because sometimes the political parties can't shut off all avenues to a righteous investigation. Not saying anybody's guilty of anything here, but there sure is a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, but you also can't cherry pick what you pursue and what you don't. I mean, the law is supposed to be evenly applied. You can't do that. You should not do that. That's not right.
And you don't, like the Democrats, Nessel, Whitmer, et cetera, running on abortion and to protect a woman's right and her health. Okay, it's a fair position. But what about the health of these elderly people? Right? There's been no accounting, no investigation. Nessel refuses to do it, and even was the keynote speaker at the Lobbyists and Healthcare Association's breakfast. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Saying, I'm sick of hearing that you didn't do a good job. How do we even know?
She didn't read that room very well because they got a very tepid response.
Because they know what was going on.
Of course, yeah.
You need a press secretary to explain
This
afterwards.
is bullshit.
Right.
Let's get on to more money crimes. The Detroit fucking Lions. That's a money crime. Okay, so you know what? You get these Twitter fuckers, these pickers and choosers, and what is that going to do with this? It's just sports, man. Anything to pick. Because they don't know shit. And they're kind of weaklings. They're not intellectually tough. Okay. It's just sports. Okay, bro. Here you go. We pay for 40% of Ford Field when they told you they paid for it. That's not true. Publicly financed, right? Where's our revenue share? And what do you give us? What kind of product?
Sweet.
The pro football team, right? Sort of represents you.
Oh yeah, it's the first thing you think of when you think of a city. For a lot of people,
it's right? The image that you want to you project, right?
Of course,
and of course, this team does. They cost a lot. They lose, and the media keeps pumping them up year after year when it's fake.
Sounds like our political parties,
exactly.
Our politicians.
I mean, here's my notes from the game yesterday. Right?
You took notes?
Yeah.
There's only one word you need. But go ahead.
Because okay, let me see here. Let me find it. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, if you want to write down notes from a Lions game, there's only one word.
I have to, man.
Okay, go ahead.
So
let's hear.
The Lions never led.
Nope.
They forced no punts. Seattle's one of the worst teams in the league, one of the worst defenses, one of the worst offenses.
It's the first time in their history they played a game where they never punted. Seattle.
Is that
right?
In
their history, yeah, which goes back,
they come out
76?
They come out of halftime, and Jared Goff's throwing a pick six, right? Okay, you say, well, we need some guys on defense. Well, our new brain trust, Derek Habel at the guys. 6 of your picks, of the 8 picks this last draft, were on defense.
Oops.
In the last 2 drafts, you picked 4 defensive linemen.
Yeah.
The line is garbage, bro. Right? It's porous.
Yeah, the line, the defensive backs, it's just a mess. It's they're not going to fix that, so I guess they're just going to be a shootout, which kind of makes it interesting, makes it entertaining. So they'll lose.
How many games they got left? Okay, so they're 1-3. There's 17 games. Yeah. There's 13 games left.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 13 games left. To get to the playoffs, you're going to need 10 wins.
Not going to happen.
They got 1. So they're going to have to go 9-3, right?
Yeah, not going to happen.
Okay, and 3 of those games, 2 are against the Packers. You're not winning that.
No.
And 1's against the Bills. You're not winning that.
No.
You got to go 9-1.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Now, you're playing the Patriots next week. We're down to the third-string quarterback.
Who played pretty well, but yeah.
Now, the Lions got a great offense. I don't know, bro. You played Washington, garbage. You played Minnesota, garbage, right? I'm not convinced with Philly.
Oh, God. Well, Philly's really good.
I don't think they're really good. Who'd
Really?
they play?
Okay.
Who'd they play?
I don't know. They're undefeated.
They
so,
played Washington,
yeah.
Detroit, Minnesota, and Jacksonville. Hold on. I'm not even convinced. Hold on, man. You know what I mean?
Well, no one can figure out the NFL, man.
It's supposed to be
really
that
hard.
way.
The only guarantee in the NFL is that this team is not that good. Maybe 6 wins, maybe 7 wins.
I telling my daughter the NFL is constructed where
parity.
You get good, you're bad. If you're the worst team, you get the first pick.
Right.
So eventually, everybody gets to the Super Bowl, and the only non-expansion team ever to have not gotten to the Super Bowl is the Lions.
You got it.
Who's got the longest playoff win drought? The Lions.
The Jets, but that's okay.
No,
playoff win.
Playoff
yeah, okay.
win.
Yeah. Sorry.
The Lions.
Because they only have
by
one
a decade.
Win. Yeah.
What's the constant? The Ford family. Fucking sell it, Bill.
Do something, Bill.
People have been saying that for years, though, Charlie. But the Lions, to me, are just like the city of Detroit. It's all everybody always believes in it. It's always on the come up. It's always going to be better. We've always got something that's going to make a difference.
Hope.
And then and then it just kind of falls flat. I mean, and they always lose in the fourth quarter. I mean, it is just a pattern that just is never broken.
I mean, we're advocating over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it worked. Like enough pressure, the police get some money. Right? Dan Campbell, okay. His record now, he's got 1 1/4 seasons under his belt. His record is 4-16. Is that correct?
Yeah, 4-16
and 1.
Yeah.
Which is a winning percentage of 190. You want some perspective? That's half of the Tigers' winning percentage this year, and they're fucking below.
Terrible.
I mean, you're twice bad as the fucking Tigers.
We have no winners in this town right now, man.
Why do we keep paying?
I don't know. We're fools.
Yeah, we just
I
want
don't know.
something.
Hope.
We do. We want it so bad that every Sunday or whenever they play, I don't know. We think, okay, this is going to be it. We want it so bad, just like everything else. We want it so bad. It's like, okay, this is it. This is going to be the turning point.
Here's the turning point. Mel Tucker at Michigan State,
boy.
$9.5 million coach per year for 10 years. What's in his contract? Mark, you were saying they suck. You were saying before the show that, when you're on Drew's show, right, and you state the obvious, you're getting slammed on social media. Why?
Well, no, I mean, there's just a lot of questions about this contract. $95 million. Who's really paying for it?
But wasn't that pretty much based on his performance last year, and now this year is?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, but I mean, do you give a
Well, it's a
10-year?
lot.
Do you give a 10-year deal after one good year?
No.
Well, who's paying?
You shouldn't.
Well, there you go.
Because
Who's
a
paying?
public university will not release the contract. That's like the non-disclosure agreement up in
Exactly.
Lansing. Get the fuck on now.
Exactly. It's
Okay, well,
infuriating.
here's what I get on social media. The boosters are paying it, asshole. 100%. Shut up, you asshole. You don't even know what you're talking about, you asshole. Look here, you asshole. That's not true.
That's the line you're fed.
Don't call you that. It's LeDouche.
Yeah, LeDouche. Shut up, dumbass.
But that's the line you get fed. That Matt Ishbia and
the
other
LeDouche and
boosters are
dumbass
paying
show.
it. But how much of the $95 million are they paying?
Let us know.
It's true.
And the Free Press is suing. Has
Good.
to sue.
Good.
Right? So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe they have a non-disclosure.
if Mel Tucker underperforms, they're allowed to fire him, and the university has to pick up the rest of the
That's what it's starting to sound like.
Contract.
Yeah.
right? So, do they have a say in his termination? And who paid? Do the boosters pay it? Do the boosters hire and fire the coach?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Did they just give it to the university? Go, he sucks. We're just going to pay him and get a new guy. Give us some more money.
Yeah.
Do you really think it works that way?
But aren't they probably like your political contributors? I mean, they make decisions too. I mean, off the record, but they're the ones who are driving decisions.
If you're fighting a Freedom of Information Act, though, it really feels like you're hiding something.
They probably
because
are.
we're fed a line of bullshit about who's paying this deal.
And what they're doing now is figuring out what they can show you that will
come on.
Not, compromise them.
Hey, listen here, sports radio can kiss my ass. I swear to God. Well, Mel Tucker's first year, 2020, he was 2-5. Then he miraculously went to 11-2, and now he's 2-3, and they're getting blown out. He's getting beat up and pushed around, right?
Yep, people are freaking out.
Okay, so, this is just the second year. I don't count COVID. And, okay. So, here.
Well, once again, that's why you don't give a 10-year deal.
Before Mel Tucker got here, the year before he got here, in 2019, State went 7-6. Then when he got here, COVID, okay, it's a mulligan, 2-5. He beat Michigan, but apparently it's a mulligan, except for that game. Then he went 11-2 last year. And so far this year, he's 2-3, and it's not looking good. Now, let me give you like Harbaugh, because he took a lot of fucking shit, this guy, right?
And people gave him a lot of shit for his deal. I mean, he got a massive deal to come to Ann Arbor.
And then they cut his salary,
Yep.
and he earned it back. So the 2 years when Brady Hoke was here, in 2013, the Wolverines went 7-6. Then in 2014, they went 5-7. So Jim Harbaugh inherited a loser. In 2015, his first year, they went 10-3. The next year, so like Mel Tucker, right? The next year in 16, Harbaugh went 10-3. He's catching shit. Not good enough. You're getting blown out by Ohio State. There's no cocaine in the dorms. There's no, female abuse. There's, the gentleman. There's no scandal with the program. Then in 2017, he goes 8-5. Now you start to hear sports radio, right? Because they're all about gambling and being entertained.
Guilty.
And the university and sports culture and developing young people doesn't matter to them anymore. Then in 2019, they went 10-3. And again, calls to fire Harbaugh. Then during COVID, they went 2-4. Didn't play the Ohio State game. Lost to Mel Tucker. Then last year, they went 12-2.
And he was Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
They get to the college football playoffs. They lost to Michigan State. Shouldn't. Whooped their ass by everything but the score.
It happens.
And now this year, they're 5-0.
Yeah.
And we know what Jim Harbaugh's contract says.
Yep, every inch.
And we know who's paying it. So it's time to put the guy on the hot seat, since this shit has turned into pro ball and you're not getting what you wanted, Sparty.
I love it. Yeah. No, exactly.
Are we turning into a sports show?
We should do a little like, it's football season, girl. I mean, it's the weekend. What happened?
Yeah.
You better start watching now.
I can't. I don't like it.
You better start
What?
watching.
You don't like what?
Football.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so you do hockey for us.
Yeah,
Of
there you go.
course.
Basketball.
Whatever.
What's your sport? Soccer? Did you guys going to go to DCFC?
Oh, yes.
No.
There might be
Speaking
a
of
home
a
game.
club that doesn't get any handouts, right, that has made the playoff, they just went one league up their freshman year in the second tier, almost to the top tier. The Detroit City Football Club went to Virginia and beat Loudon
United. I guess it's
Loudoun
Loudoun
United,
County. Yeah.
right, out in the D.C. area. Whooped them
Yep.
4-0. 2 more wins and they get a home playoff game, right?
As I understand it, yeah, that's great.
I'm going October
That's a
15th.
winner, man.
I mean, we got a winner. We got something regular people go to. They don't siphon off the community. So congratulations to DCFC. We're going to be there.
The games are just a blast, too.
You going to go?
I saw.
Are we going to go?
Well, the 15th's not the best day.
Yeah, why not? It's
Penn
Michigan
State's in town. What are you
It's
going to do?
What time's that game?
I don't think they've given it a time yet. Probably noon.
They should do noon.
Hey, there is a possibility.
You
It's a
ain't.
noon
You're going to
game.
be on drunk in Ann Arbor.
Probably,
and shit.
yeah. All right,
Mark
guilty.
doesn't drink.
Acting like y'all smart, better than Sparty.
Yeah, I don't
I
drink.
know. That's what I don't like.
Oh, I got a photo. We'll post it later. I found a whole roll of Michigan State diplomas.
Where?
I'm scared.
They're hanging in the toilet on the toilet paper dispenser.
All right, Charlie. I'm not going to let you trash MSU like that.
That's
Come
cool
on
brew,
now.
baby. That's cool.
No. Yeah, you know those Wolverines have issues, but that's another. Yeah, they do.
Winning.
No. Here we go.
Let's get out of here.
That was a cheap shot.
I want to say, wait, hold on. I don't want to.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's a new book out. My friend Anthony Bourdain. It's called Down and Out in Paradise, the life of Anthony Bourdain. And it really gets to the question of why would the guy with the greatest job in the world take his own life?
Yeah. Everyone loved him.
And that's because it wasn't the greatest job in the world. You didn't get to see your family. He's gone 300 days a year. People are just hanging on him.
Yeah.
He was shooting steroids. He was drinking his ass off. His parties. The alcohol gets you depressed. Then you get in with a crazy woman, right? Alienating you, and that's that. And I knew it. Like I said before, his mother introduced me to him. The way Anthony Bourdain got known was his mother Gladys, who was a copy editor at the New York Times, took an essay he wrote about being what really goes on as a chef in the back of a kitchen, and
it's a great book.
She gave it to an editor named, I think it's Esther Feynman. Esther is she's a cool lady. She's married to David Remnick, who runs the New Yorker. David ran it. Rest is history. So I met him. Very cool dude. When he came to Detroit, I knew. Because first of all, when he got in my car with me, I had a pack of cigarettes, half a pack. And he's like, hey, you mind if I get one of those? I really shouldn't. I got emphysema. And he smoked a whole half a pack by himself, just in that car, because nobody was watching him. All of his handlers and the producers. And he lived this really fucking weird life where everybody wanted a piece of him. And everybody knew what was best for him. You know, he would never stay with the crew. He would stay away from them. And he would just show up because, it was weird. And when we were done filming in Detroit, I said, hey, Tony, you haven't met my wife. And he came back to my house. It was real cool. And we partied till dawn. And he told the same worn out story to every firefighter, every cop, every restaurateur, my wife, my brother-in-law, me. The story about, eating in Chernobyl. Having a family supper in Chernobyl. And it's like everybody wanted a story. And that was the story. Everybody wanted a piece. And nobody gave him a piece.
But that's the thing, Charlie, and people don't understand. People that you see in the public are human. They have lives, they have feelings, but everybody, and this is the other thing, everybody thinks that they're the only person that wants something. They're the only person, I'm the only one that you need to call. I'm the only one asking you for something. But you got 50 million people converging on you, and it has a burden. It takes a toll. I mean, it does.
Tony, my big brother, taught me something in his death. I was in Denver on a book tour, and the phone was ringing, and I finally answered it. And somebody, can I get a comment? Tony took his life yesterday. I was like, what? Give me a moment, right? And I looked at the hotel room, and I was alone. It was half-eaten room service. It was a cheeseburger, about a 6-pack of beers. You get a little hungover from a 6-pack of beers. The windows were dirty. It was just kind of old, and it was just lonely. I lived a life like his. I didn't get to do all that traveling, but I've done traveling, and I'm done. So if you wonder, why would I leave Fox or New York Times, because you get to a point where your life's not yours, and you don't get to make the decisions or where you're going to be that day, right? Yep. And people are looking into your life, and they know something about you, and it's really hard to give up. And I don't think he could give it up because way too many people depended on him.
But it's the same thing, Charlie, maybe at a different level. Like you said, maybe he was traveling 300 days of the year. You were traveling 150. But I'm saying it's the same thing. And you get to a point when you start to realize what really matters. How do I carve out time for myself and my family? I mean, people don't realize just a little bit of public, recognition everybody wants something, and it does take its toll.
Traveling is fun. It's great, but it's not home. And if you don't have those roots, I mean, I totally understand why it would be lonely. It would suck.
And then there's the children aspect of it.
Yeah.
Even if you're a bad father, you want to see your babies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You know, every bad dad
Even if they're
knows
bad,
he is.
yeah. Even if your babies are bad, you still
There
want to
are
see
no
them.
such thing as bad children, Mark. Don't say that.
You know, when you're not seeing them, that's
my mom.
That's the height of loneliness, I think.
Yeah, well, like I said, that, Charlie, and I'm going to take the travel out of it. It's just the fact that, like you said, everybody wants something from you, and they never think they have to give or can give anything to you. That can happen, and you don't have to travel any place beyond your block, your home, your own city. I mean, people have to understand that the people that you sit back and admire and hear and watch and listen to, they're human too. They give you what you enjoy, but they also have needs.
Well, I just drank my ashes.
And on that note,
at least they're your ashes.
Here's to you, Tony. No, I got a deadline. The newspaper's needing something from me. I'll see you Thursday.
Yes, you will.
All right.